Welcome, I am your host, Andy Choiński. Today, the subject of spirituality and human consciousness is one of the most fascinating aspects of modern times. I would like to introduce you to some simple and amazing spiritual laws that govern this world. The great book of life is written in our hearts. It is the source of all knowledge. If we look at its endless chapters throughout our lives, we will learn everything about it. Some of us have been blessed with wise parents, teachers, or mentors. They share their knowledge, experiences, and advice with us, showing us different options and possibilities for coping with difficult times. However, sooner or later, we will face a moment when the only person we can rely on is ourselves. And then we will wonder, how am I supposed to get through my life without other people's guidance? Having a stable mental state is very important for discovering and realizing solutions that you may have never imagined before. It is impossible to illuminate reality and get to know it as it really is with only reliable actions, intellectual knowledge, and logical reasoning in difficult circumstances. There are opportunities beyond the learned knowledge and beyond the senses we need to see. A true sign of right knowledge is seeing beyond what our senses are able to perceive. Therefore, the great masters knew a long time ago that man is not a creation of circumstances, and his thoughts are the architects of life, and feeling with the heart gives knowledge of the universe. Our world on Earth is just a tiny point. We can explore billions of other worlds, and as we do, billions of possibilities and solutions emerge that our minds cannot comprehend. We must fill them with our heart and love for others. So let us draw strength and courage from God, who lives within our hearts. Neither enlightened spirituality nor secret knowledge is necessary for this. Fear has no place in love. The divine love gives without demanding. Love does not expect anything in return. Love means sharing and serving. In these troubling times, let's not be afraid of anything. Our divinity will overcome the obstacles. It is stronger than all evil on earth. We should therefore rely on our inner divinity. Let us cleanse hearts by removing the weeds of lust, hatred, greed, selfishness, and jealousy. Let us eliminate all bad desires. Let us try to bring out everything that is worthy and noble in us. Let us develop divine virtues. This is the beginning of freedom. In our Western tradition, we are focused on acquiring, competing, possessing, striving for success at all costs, imposed by the laws of the matrix. But is this behavior following the laws of nature? Are we not going against the tide, not understanding the simple rule that governs the world, blinded by the gains of civilizations and the designs of our intelligent mind? We can overcome any limitations imposed by the matrix. In nature, Not the strongest will survive, but the ones who can adapt to changes through harmony in their lives. Let us take simple example from our surroundings. If we have something or someone in our lives we cherish, we are delighted. We love such situations. They give us joy and apparent happiness. As a result, when there is something we desire, people will tell us to follow our passion, to attract wherever we can into our lives, to meditate, affirm, and visualize happiness, wealth, health, and love. But Mother Nature says no. The natural laws of this universe tells you no. Do not follow it. Do not attract what you want to yourself if it appears in your life at any cost. The same thing happens on the opposite side of the pole. If we find ourselves in a situation that brings us pain and suffering, we obviously don't like that state of affairs. We're trying to get away from it. We avoid it at all costs. Moreover, we run away from bad consequences at every step they arise. Our mind tells us to reject them. Tradition and unenlightened intelligence force us to push it as far as possible. But Mother Nature says no. When we seek or avoid something, it returns to us with double power, or distances itself with double force, depending on how much we want it. Always maintain balance even in negative situations. This world is our best teacher. We find lessons in every experience. Any difficulty or disappointment is only momentary and passes. It is a test of our faith. All of this is a test of our inner strength. In many ways, pain is a good thing. It opens our eyes to areas we didn't want to see, and thus awakens our dormant faculties. Here is an example. When I want to attract something I enjoy very much, I imagine it and I want to make it as great as possible, and I want to be able to pull a given situation that I consider positive even closer than it should actually be. What will happen? One day, when the time comes, at an unexpected moment, wherever we try to pull towards us will simply distance itself from us and be unattainable. In the same example, if we push something bad, some negative experience away from ourselves from the very beginning, it will only be a matter of time before what we are pushing away from us comes closer than we expected. By failing to understand the simple principle of nature, most of us are mired in that constant fluctuation of good and bad events. This means that we surf through life constantly going up and down without keeping balance and stability. Mother Nature is fantastic. If we're in balance with it, we can just live. Enjoy life by understanding the laws of nature that surround us. Spirituality and physicality are interconnected. The entirety of the human biofield is synchronized with thoughts and intentions. Each cell is an incredibly intelligent particle of existence that cannot be deceived over time. So, we have to remind ourselves that investing in this matrix is an illusion. We want to start investing in ourselves. To see a rainbow on this path, however, sometimes means that a bit of rain must fall. Sometimes I wonder and think that wild animals are smarter than we are. They use the laws of nature. They don't care about fulfilling life goals. They just live. People are always looking for a goal, and this goal constantly puts them in the swing of existence, which should be their teacher, but mostly puts them into doing the scariest thing that happened on this planet, and they become dangerous. The most dangerous people are those who think they have a God-given purpose. They do the cruelest things, they do the most terrible things, and always do the most terrible things, because when a person has a God-given purpose, understanding of life becomes less important, and one's ego takes center stage. When you set a goal to live as long as possible, you also lose, because as I mentioned before, whatever you force to attract, that will always distance itself from you. The same applies to spirituality. We will not get to know it through courses, lectures, meditations, or channelings. In many cases, a simple man working with his hands with Mother Earth naturally understands spirituality more than a monk meditating in a cave for decades uninterruptedly. Contemporary civilization is complex and artificial. It cuts us off from understanding nature. We hurt ourselves a lot and hate others, but we should always remain balanced and follow the path of the middle road. We should never engage in others' suffering. We should realize that we cannot help everyone. We can only help those who are ready to accept our help. The person who is cut off from spirituality does not understand natural laws and suffers unknowingly. Because he can only see the world through his prism of his pain, he is cold, deaf, and blind, and cannot see the truth. But he can infect us with suffering. Only if we follow our own balanced path, the middle path, we'll be able to help people. Life is full of such apparent paradoxes. Does it make sense? The greatest thing about life is that it has no intentional meaning, and this is the greatest aspect of it. It lacks of purpose. On the other hand, there is no need for it to make a sense, as it is a part of ideal, wonderful, divine creation. In human psychology, we are always searching for meaning and purpose, but the pettiness of the human mind complicates everything. Society makes us search for meaning and purpose because without them we feel detached from life and constantly seek the significance of our existence. We build an intellectual or spiritual cocoon around ourselves, which provide us with the security of our existence, but at the same time limits our knowledge of the world. And because of this pettiness of our mind likes to build the walls. When we are protected, we feel comfortable. When they start to limit us, they disturb us. This is why we have gates within the walls. We like our fortresses because they protect us, but we have gates so we can open them and leave when we want. It is important to remember that all fortresses, castles, strongholds, and protective walls were eventually conquered or destroyed. So isolating ourselves at any time brings us to the point at which we lose our ability to balance our lives. So the most significant thing we need in life is balance. If we have balance, we can climb the rungs of any ladder. If we are out of balance, we better stay on the ground until we find balance within ourselves. Balance is hard to keep. Every form of life strives for it. Everything is dynamic and nothing remains as it is. We constantly strive for the balance based on the natural laws of life. Notice that from the moment we are born, the number of nights and days remains in balance. The number of our inhalations and exhalations remains in balance. But the dualistic world keeps pushing us one way or the other. We know that something is white only because there is black. Success never remains a success because success is based on failure. A healthy person will never stay only healthy. It is healthy because there are diseases. A rich man cannot remain rich forever. He is only wealthy now because he is able to benefit from the flow of wealth energy around him, but he knows that any moment he can lose everything. However, a man who lives in balance will not care, since he knows he has skills to reinvest energy and pick himself up from any fall. A true understanding of spirituality is a way of coping and going through this life without falling into highs and lows over and over again. In summary, let us remember that as spiritual entities, we must take full responsibility for our lives. When we observe this world, let us be free from judgment, free from discrimination. Let us not listen to ignorance or hatred, and learn how to navigate properly so that we can grow and not hurt others. By using tools and practices, let's create a spiritual body perspective that allows us to see beyond the obvious, into the invisible realm of our existence. So let's learn to give with love, share with others, give without any expectations, because nothing is lost by giving, and on the other hand, we will receive 1,000 times more from God. This world will not remember you for your personal achievements. It will remember you for the contributions you have made to this world to keep nature in constant balance. The king or pawn pieces return to the same closed dark box at the end of the game of chess. But the chessboard battle that took place a moment ago remains etched in our consciousness. Thank you for listening. May we always be carried along a continuous wave of blessed life energy.